Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good morrow. I hope you've all successfully navigated the time change. I understand it's difficult, um, but I see a lot of people here and joining quickly. We have a very special class arranged today. Yes, easier to do, as Upala says in Arizona, but the rest of the world revolving around the center of the universe in Rimrock is honored to face the challenge. And I believe Stanley Chen is hovering somewhere nearby, ready to give us a very special class. We're going to do in Chinese, I believe, and that means that the interpreters will be offering us a translation, of course, but even we English speakers who are so spoiled and used to having everything in our own language have the opportunity to go into the English interpretation room soon. Again, this is all contingent on Stanley being here, which
Yes.
there, found him. Hi, doctor. Good to see you.
Hi. I was a little upset that I didn't see you in Diamond Mountain. We missed one day or something.
I
So
know.
my
I get to
motivation
see your
today,
other half.
my motivation today is mainly to torture you with my Chinese.
I'm delighted. It's my honor. I'm sorry. You'll have to find a crueler torture because I'm just gonna be tickled.
We'll work harder.
I
Maybe Chinese.
I I leave it to you. Thank you for
Okay.
preparing for us today. I'm excited, and I and the other English speakers are going to dive into the English interpretation room, and I give you the floor, Dr. Stanley Chen. Thank you so much.
好，谢谢。好
Thank
好
you.
，OK，
Very good.
好，谢谢 Ben 老师，欢
Thank
迎
you,
大家
Teacher
来到
Ben.
今天的
Welcome
玄奘塔
to the
和解
Xuanzang
忧的
Tower
翻译课。
class, the mixedness
今天还是
class
由我
today.
们几
Today
位翻译的
is still
译
a
员来教一
team
些我
class
们各自书的内
by
容，所
the
以今
few of
天
us,
又轮到我了。
and
我想难得
it is
平
my
常很
turn
少
today.
有机会可以让
Normally, we don't have much chance
让很多中国的讲中文的朋友可
to
以听到，就是中文
allow
的
Chinese
原文的经
speaking
典，
audience
因为
to
大多时候都是英
listen
文
to the
为原文，
original
还要学
teaching because we
另外一
normally
种
teach
母
in
语，其实
English
是挺困难的。所以感谢大家
is
持续的关注
actually
跟支持。
an
今
ancient
天我们就
language that
用
we are
中文来
learning,
讲课，
which is quite
做一些小
difficult.
小的分享，
Thank you for your
然后其
support,
他
and we
的
will teach in Chinese
朋友
today.
也欢
I
迎
will
大
do
家
some
去
sharing
到
and welcome
频道。
every one
So
of you
again,
to
I
go
just
into
wanna
your
remind every one
corresponding
of you,
Zoom room.
we are going to mainly speak in Chinese today. If you don't want to suffer too much and you want to understand more, you are very welcome to go to a different interpretation channel. OK? 好的，大家听得清楚我的声音吗？还
Is
是
my voice clear
有
for
点卡？
everyone?
图像会卡是吗？
The screen
清楚，
is not clear, right?
清楚。OK, good.
Okay, good.
有一点卡，好。OK， 声音顺啊，那声音顺就 OK 了，那没
As
关
long
系，
as my voice is clear, then it's fine.
因为这个 Sedona 的网 WiFi 快10慢，
Because
所以控制不了。
the speed of the Sedona Wi-Fi is sometimes good, sometimes not so good.
好，
So
我现
we
在会
cannot
开始
control.
分享一下我的
Now I will start
屏幕。
to share my screen.
OK， 今天会跟大家分享一本比较特别的书。
Today we will share
这本
a
书
very
呢，跟我
special
们
book
大乘阿毗达摩 接下来格西老师会
which
继续
is
为大家讲解的
about
是同样的主题，所以
the
我也想说，因为
which
正
is
好
on
格
the
西老
same
师刚
topic
刚
of
帮我们
our
非常成功的小
Abhidharma
手术，
Samuchaya
所以
that will
记
be
得今天
explained
刚
by
刚
Geshe
从
later.
圣地亚哥回到圣多纳，回到 Rimrock，
We just arrived
回到
Rimrock
宇
from
宙的首都，
San
又演变成
Diego today.
所以呢
We just arrived this capital
等
of
到下一
Rimrock.
堂由格西老师亲
So
自授课的大乘
next
阿比达摩的时
class,
候，我们就会
Geshe will
进入到大
lead
阿
us
比达摩当中非常非常非常
on the
重要且
very, very
著
important
名的主
and
题，就是五
famous
蕴
topic in Abhidharma
hips
Samuchaya, which is
五蕴
on 5 hips.
这个主题。那我自己就很喜欢
Personally,
在力所能及的范围内更深的去
I
探索，
love to
就随着老
try
师一
my
边教
best
我自己一边
to
去探
explore
索
deeper
相关的经典的
under Geshe-la's
内容。
guidance,
所以
explore
很开心的
deeper
是，近
into
期发现
ancient
了这一本书，
wisdom.
由
So
安慧菩
surprisingly,
萨所
I
教授的
found
这本
this
书。
book
安慧
recently,
菩萨对
which
我
is
们
by
这个
Master
阿比达摩这
Stiramati.
个主题很重要，因为
And this book is very
我们
important
现
on
在
our topic on
在
Abhidharma.
玄奘塔里面有2本阿比达摩的书嘛，
Because in
一本
at
是
Xuanzang
小
Tower,
阿比
we
达
have
摩，就是
two
阿比达
books
摩
on
据说呢是
Abhidharma.
由弟弟
One
世亲
is
大师
by
所
the
书写的，
younger brother
然后另外一本就是大阿比达摩，
Asubandu
就是
Abhidharma
由格
Kosha,
格
and
无助
another
正
one
人
is
无助
by the
所写的。
and the
那
older
大阿比达
brother
摩
Master Asanga.
在讲，有格西老师在讲解的就是这一本最近我们这1-2年，
Recently,
因为
or I
敦
can
煌
say
项目
in
的
these
关系，
1 or
转到
2
了
years,
大
because
阿比达
of
摩当
the
中，
Dunhuang project,
因为在敦
we
煌
have
石窟
turned
里
our
面
focus
有
onto
藏有
this
这一本书，所以我们也很想去更多的
Mahayana
挖掘
Abhidharma, which is
这本
by
书。
Master Asanga.
那
Because of the Dunhuang project, we'd
在
like
这
to
个过程
explore
当
more
中，我就
on this
常常引用
Mahayana
安
version.
慧
And
Stiramati
during the
安
process,
慧
we are referring a
菩
lot
萨
to this
的论
text
释
by Master
来解读
Stiramati
大阿比达摩。
in order to
那
understand the
最近我就
Mahayana
发现
Abhidharma Samuchaya.
安慧菩萨其实专门
And
写了一
recently,
本
I
书
realized that
来讲阿比达摩
Master
当中最为
Stiramati
之重要，或者说
specifically
最
wrote
重要
a
的基
book
础的一个
to
话题，专
explain
门围绕这个
the
话题这个
basics
主题来
or the
写了单独的一
foundations
本
of
书。
the
这本书就是我
Abhidharma
们今天
Samuchaya.
要来
This
学习
topic
的
is what we are going to
内容。这本书的
learn
名字
today.
叫做《大乘
The name of this book is
广五蕴论》。
Commentary on Mahayana 5 Heaps.
我相信很多的
This
朋
is a
友是比
literal
较熟
translation.
悉五蕴这个话题的，
I
尤其
believe
是如果学
many
过
of
俱
you
舍了小阿比达摩。
know the topic of 5 heaps, especially those who have learned the
那这
Abhidharma
本书很值
Kosha.
得去参考去学习一下，因为
This
这
book
本
is
书
very
是大
valuable
乘
for
版的阿比达摩
using as a
里面
reference
对五蕴的看法，
because it
对
is
五蕴的
about
理解。
how
所以我
Mahayana
自己在
views
做的
5
一个
heaps.
学习方式就是做对比与对照，
My
去
own
对
way
比
of
小阿比
learning
达摩
is
的
to
五
do a
蕴
compare and
跟大阿
contrast,
比达摩的五蕴有什么
comparing
不一样。
between the 5
这也
heaps
是很
of
有意思的一个
Hinayana
学
and 5
习
heaps of
方式，可以做一些对
Mahayana.
比与对照。
So
今
this
天
is
我
one
今天
meaningful
的
way to learn, which is to
目
compare
标
those 2 types of
是给
5
大家
heaps.
呈现一堂非
My
常之
goal,
枯
one
燥
of my
的
goals
五蕴论的
today
课程，
is to give you a very boring
意思
5
是我想要
heaps
严格的按照书
class
中的
today,
框架
which means I'm going to follow
来
strictly according
理
to
一
the
理
text
这大乘如何
to
来对五蕴做拆解。
present how
所以你可以把今
Mahayana
天的课程理解
explains
为一
the
堂
5
这个
heaps.
拆车
So
的
you
课程。
can understand
我
this
们现在
class
要做的就是会
as
把
an
五蕴这一辆车一步一部分地把它拆
explanation
出来，
or presentation that we are
然后
going
清楚的
to
知道主要的，譬
present
如说
this
引
5
擎包
heaps,
含了什么部分，主要的这个
including
车
what
身包
is
含了什么
the
部分，主要
hidden
的软件
meaning,
系统包含了什么
or
部分。
like we are going to
所以我
deconstruct
今
a
天没有
car
任何想要
looking
让
at
大
all
家
the
对
softwares,
阿比达摩
etc.
感到兴奋的目的。我
So
唯一的动机就是想跟
my
大家一
only
起理清楚，
intention
五蕴
is
之
to
下还能够如何拆解，如何
try
分类，
to
这样
deconstruct
我们对五蕴
all the different
有更深刻的
categories under
了
5
解。
heaps with all of
如
you
果你
today
曾
so
经
we can
拆
have
过一辆
more
车，或者
understanding on
拆
the
过任
five
何一个
heaps.
机械
If you have
物
tried
品，然后
to
把它重新装起来，你就会
deconstruct
知
a
道，
car or
你拆完
something
之后才真
similar,
正懂得这个
after
这个
you
物
have
件是什么，
broken it
一
down,
拆
then
谁就知
you
道了。
can
对，这个叫做在英文当
really
中叫
understand
reverse
all the
engineering，
details.
叫逆向
In
工程。
English, this is called
把
reverse
它拆完之后再
engineering.
拼回去，你就知道
After you have
哦，原来
broken
五
it
蕴就是这么一
down,
回事。
you have to put it
所以这个
back
过程当中，我可
in
以跟
order to
跟
understand
大家
what
有
is
一种
five
枯燥
heaps.
的感受，
So
今
I
天
can
会有
guarantee
很
you
多
you
的
will
惊
feel
叹。
bored today because we will look into a lot
但
of
是
lists.
因为今天下一堂课是乌帕拉，
And because our next
乌帕
class
拉
is
法师的
by
课，
Venerable
他
Upala,
的课会很性感，很 sexy，
her class
讲
will be
空
very
气，
sexy, which is on
所以正好我们
emptiness.
可以平衡一下。
So
我
we
负
can
责
have a
让大家
balance,
听得很枯燥，
and
然后
I'm
乌帕老师的
responsible
课会
for
让大家
making
听
you
得很
feel
激动，
bored, while
也可能
Venerable
听不懂。
Upala will
所以这是我们
make
今
you
天的一个
excited,
总
or
体
you
的
may not
计
understand
划。
her class
OK，
as well.
好，接下来
So
开
this
始。
is our
我
plan
想要
for
做一件
today.
事情，就是我自己一边去看这个
One
五
thing
蕴
I'd like to
一
do
边做一
is
个思维导图。我
while
自己
we are
做，但
looking
同
at
时大
the
家可以一
five
起来，一
heaps,
起
I will
跟着
do
这个思路去理解。这样，因为五蕴
mind
上
map.
面其实
I
包
will do
含
it,
不只是五
but you
个
can
清单，
think
有很
with
多
me
个清单，
together
每个
because
清单又可以继续
in
拆
the
分。
five heaps, there's not only one list, there
所
are
以
many lists,
这个思维导图会对
and
我们理
each
解
of the
五蕴
lists
这
can be
这
broken
辆
down.
车的结
So
构，
this mind map
会有
is
很
to
大的
help
帮助。
us understand
OK，
the
好，
deconstruction of this
我们
car.
先说第一段。佛说
We
五
will
蕴，
look
我
into
先
the
快速地
first
念一下。
paragraph.
这
I will
个
read it.
英文翻译就 summarize 就好了，不然你可能
If
翻不了这么
for
多
the
词。
English
佛
translation, you
说
can
五
just
蕴为
summarize it.
色蕴、受蕴、
Buddha
想
talked
蕴、
about the
行
five
蕴、
heaps,
识
which is
蕴。
form,
OK，
feeling,
这是第一
discrimination,
个清单已
formation,
经很清楚了，有
consciousness.
五蕴分别是哪五蕴？
Okay,
色、
this is the first
受、
list. What are the
想、
five heaps? Form,
行、
feeling,
识。所以我
discrimination,
们先
formation, and consciousness.
从这个五蕴开始来猜一
So
下。
we are starting
它
with the
分
five
为
heaps.
5个部分：色、
It has 5
受、
parts,
想、
which are form, feeling, discrimination,
行、
formation or action,
识。
or all the rest, and then
这个我可
consciousness.
以写一下英文，这样其他朋友能够听得
I
到、
will
听得懂。
also write down the English.
已经开始感觉到很无聊了，是吧？
You start to feel bored, right?
这个行运翻译成英文还比较有意思。
This fourth one
这个
in
到时候我们可以
English
看
is
看。
very interesting. We can
还
take a
有
look.
就是
It's other factors.
OK， 有5个。
So there are 5 of them.
然后接下来我们看这一段，云和
And
色蕴。那如果
we-
色蕴又可以拆解成什么？这里就
What
很有
is
意思了。
the heap of
我不
forms?
知道接下来能不能全部翻成英
Now
文，因
it
为
gets
或
interesting.
者到时候 Kitty 可以帮忙。
I don't know.
请
I don't know whether
帮我们
this
这个
part can
表
be
达
translated
一下。
into English
然后
because
这
it
个
is quite
色
complicated.
云和色蕴呢，就是你
What
看这个
is
色就不
the
要
heap
被它
of forms?
欺骗了，这里指的不
Look
是
at
颜色
this
的色，
word.
色
Look at
是
this
指这
word
个
in
物质的
Chinese.
意思。
It doesn't mean
怎么
color.
分呢？
It means
四
physical
大
matter.
种及大种所造
How
色
do we
这句话。
understand it?
所以其实这里
Which
又
is the
分
next
为2了，
sentence.
一个叫四大种，
So now we are going to break it down again.
一个
There are
叫
4 elements.
这个四大种所造的色。
It is physical matter
那
made
先
up
专注
by
色蕴
4
好了。
elements.
那
So
四大种又是什
now
么
we
意思呢？
focus
你
on the
看
form of
这个
the
一
heap
个个
of
清单
form.
在解释，非常的
And
清
you
楚，
can
所以我
see
很喜
we
欢
are
论述。
breaking it
一
down
有
into
一有
another
问题，他
list.
下一句话就已经在开始
You
讲了。
have a question, then the next sentence is about it. The next sentence is what are the 4 elements?
Side by side with gallery。 OK， cool。 好，那看得到大家的表情，看看大家会有觉得多枯燥这个内容。
I cannot see your face. I would like to know how
四大种呢，
bored
这里
you
有讲了，
find.
这里讲到了
Here
有地
it is
水火
talking
风。
about the 4
当然
elements,
不同的
which is
学派当中有
earth,
不同的一些分法，
water,
但是最基
fire,
本的地
and
水火风。那有些时候，譬如说会
wind.
把这个空
Some other lists also put space into this list and say there are 5. If you are a student of IR, you just believe that this kind of boring topic can help your innovation. It can balance our thinking process in our brain. So there are earth, water, fire, and wind. This word 界, which sort of means realm in the Chinese, often appears in Abhidharma. Like we have 12 doors of sense and 18 categories. Now we see the same word 界. You can understand it as physical energy. So there are earth, water, fire, and wind. And here you may think, what is earth? So does soil mean earth? Water means the liquid in our body. Do I also have fire or wind in my body? If you think about it, it's not like that. Because form doesn't only mean the body. The heap of form includes all the physical matters in the universe. So these 4 are more basic. They are composition energy or composition elements. So if we continue to read it, we may get the answer. So this sentence means, what do these 4 really mean? Here, Master Stiramati gave a very precise and short explanation, which includes the explanation of earth, the explanation of the word realm, 界, and we can now look at it. Very cool and very clear. That's one of the reasons I love this book. It's sort of like an encyclopedia. It's very precise and with a very clear logic.
明明白白。我来不及翻译中文了，英文了，抱歉，因为太多了，所以要请其他的语言的朋友要吃一下苦，体验一下中国讲中文朋友
cannot translate it directly into English, so I will give this opportunity for all the other students to struggle to try to understand it. What is earth? Earth means solidity. So this earth doesn't mean soil. It means the solidity, this nature. This nature of this matter. What is water? Water is wet, the wetness. So it is very clear. It is wet. If earth is solidity, and these 4 elements, all the physical matters in the universe are composed of these 4 elements. From this perspective, we can ask ourselves, is the softest thing in the world, does it have the elements of earth?
那这个柔软的屏幕有没有地性？
Like for example, a very soft screen, does it have earthiness? Yes, it also has some solidity, or else everything in the world cannot be joined together. Here at Sedona, we have lots of rocks, and like in Dana Mountain, we have a lot of different kinds of rocks. This kind of very dry matter, do they have wetness? Yes. Right? Meaning the most boring Abhidharma also have some wetness, also have some interesting stuff in it.
然后火为暖性，也就是说
And fire is
任
warmness.
何的，譬如说有绝对零度的物质，
There
最
is
冷
absolute
物质，它也有
zero
暖性，
degree. There
也
are
有一
things
定的
of
温度在存在。
absolute
因
zero
为如果
degree.
没有一定的温度
Even
的话，
such things
在
have some
热力
warmness.
学里面就称之为热寂了，也就是说没有
Or else
温
it
差
would
了。世界
like
上
be
没有温差的话，就信息无法传
heat
递，生
death
命就
in the
死亡。
universe.
所以
Meaning
在
if
这个
there's
世界
no
上所有的
temperature
物质目前
difference,
都是有这个，
it will
按
reach
照阿比
the
达摩
points of
都
heat
是有
death.
暖性，
So
都是有一
according
定
to
的温度在里面，
Abhidharma, everything has
无论
some
多冷它都
warmness
是有暖
in
性的。
it.
这个可以去
No
做
matter
什么
how
意思？
cold it is, it
好，
also
这
has
个
some
思想对我来
warmness.
讲觉得很有意思。然后风有清性，
And
风意思就是
wind,
轻，
wind is
对，
lightness.
轻。
It is very light.
有另外一种解释，我不知道这
There is
个是不是
another
翻译
kind
问
of
题，但是我记
explanation.
得有
I'm not
其
sure
他
whether
的
it is
阿比
just a
达摩
different
对风的解
translation,
释当中讲
but
到风
I
有
know
动
that
性，
some other Abhidharma texts
有流动，
say that
所以我不知道这里的轻是不是指
wind
动的意思，
is
但是我比较确定它的这个
movement
风界的
or
意思
mobility.
就是
So
会有流动。
I think this wind
所以所有
element
的物
is
质都
about
是由这4种
mobility.
能量组成的，只是它
And
的
every matter in the
比例不一
universe
样，你可以
is
这么说。那比例
composed
不
of
一样，
these
令到那
four
个物质的
elements,
性质就不
just
一
a
样。
different
那何为
proportion,
界呢？
giving a different kind of
这就很酷了。
matter.
为
And
什么要
how
把这
about
4大种
this
称之
word
为界
jie
呢？
realm? Why do we call these
因为
four elements jie or the realm
能识自性所造色故，
or
因
the
为这些物质能够维持其
Dhatu
本身的性质，
because these natures
它有自身的
can
功能，
these
就
things
有点
these four
像
elements
我们
can
学过的化学
maintain
周
their
期，
own nature.
就
They have their
化
own
学
function.
化学里面的那个元素
Like
周期
what
表
we learn
一样。
in the periodic table at
哪一
our
种元素
chemistry
为什么
classes.
是它的元素？因为它有其自身
Why
的
are these
自
elements
性，在阿比达摩
their
当中非常
element itself? Because
非常
they
强
have
调
their own
能识
nature.
自性这件事情，
In Abhidharma, it
就
emphasizes
是
that these
这个事
elements
物
can
能
maintain
维
their
持
own nature,
其自身独特的性质，
meaning
才
these
能
things
够成为
can
这个事物。无论
maintain
是物
their
质还是无
independent
论是色法还是
nature,
心法，我们后面会讲到更
no
多的心
matter
法的内
it
容，
is
就是意识层面的存在。所以现在我
Dharma
们
or
听这
form
个阿
of,
比达摩
of
课的时候，就要
Dharma of
换
the
帽子。
mind
在
is the same.
格西老师说
So here
要学会换
in
不同
this
的帽子，
Abhidharma,
听不
we
同
are
的内容，
changing our
思考不
heads.
同的内
Like
容。换
what
帽子的意
Geshe
思就是
mentioned
现
that
在
we have to know
阿比达摩
when
当
to
中的
change our
自信
heads.
是一个极其重要的词，但
Because
是
we
这
are
个
now
自
in
信放到
Abhidharma, this self-nature is a
中
very
观里面
important term. But if
就
we
是
put
这
this
个
term of self-nature
非常
into
要
Madhyamika,
否定掉，非常
it
需
is
要
a thing that we
怎
are
么说呢？破
heavily
掉的，非
denying.
常之重要的敌人。
It
但
is
是
a
在阿比达
very
摩当中，
big
在
enemy
讲尤其
or
讲这个事
Madhyamika.
物所有的
But
分
in
类当中，自
Abhidharma,
信是很重要
especially
的。
when we
所
are
以你能
talking
够理
about
解
this
为什么
category of
当
things, this word
乔达摩
self-nature
在
is
讲
very
完第一
important.
转课程之
So
后，他
that's
第
why
一
after
阶段的
Gautama
集中教授之后，
gave the first
开始
period
讲
of
空，
teaching,
讲心经、
he started
金
to
刚经的
talk
时候，
about emptiness
你会
when
发
he
现，
was
如果那些学
teaching
生
Heart
听了第一轮
Sutra,
的教授学
Brahmankata
转到第二
Sutra,
轮的时
he
候，
started
会
to
发
talk about
现
emptiness
非常的
because
恐
he
慌，或者
realized
说无
that
法理解，因为某种程度这位老师在完全否定他
the
前面所讲的
students
所有的内容，因为在那个时候，
start
自信
to,
同一个词就变成了非常的糟糕的一个
and he
词，
realized that students start to
自
get
信、空性。
anxious
OK，
because
好，我们这里就不展开了。但是
what
这里
he
大家
was
知道这个界
explaining
为
was
什么要称
totally
之为
different
界了，
from
因为它
his
能
first
够
period of
维持
teaching.
其自身的自信所以
So
叫
here
第
we
一
are
界、
talking
水
about
界、火
that
界、风界。
that these four elements
好，
can
然后我
maintain
们
its
回到这
own
个色蕴当
self-nature.
中，我们刚刚讲的有两
And
个
back
分类，
to the
一
heap
个是
of
四大种，
form,
我们现在知道是什么，
we
地水
said
火风。
there were two types.
如
The
果你喜
first
欢看
type
很多
was
这个日本漫
four
画的话，
elements.
这里有
If
很
you
多
like
的创作
Japanese
空间，
manga,
你有看到很多
here
的
you can have a lot of
很多的
creativity
漫画的 idea 都是从这里来的。
because a lot of
然
Japanese
后
manga
第二
are
个分
from
类
these four elements.
就
And the
是
second
大种所造色，
category of the form heap of
也
form
就是
is
说是由这四大组合起来所创造
the
出的
form
物质，
made the physical matter formed by the 4 elements. So you can break it down into 4 elements and the form formed by the 4 elements. So between these two, there are karmic relationships. The 4 elements are the cause and the form is the result.
做了不同的组合。对，我最爱举的一个例子就是第一代
One example I'd like to raise is the first generation iPhone.
手机是有的，智能电脑是有的，
touch
但是乔布斯把它们重组起来了。
There are big screen. All these are existing, but when we put them together, then we had the first generation of iPhone.
所以这个叫大种所造色。那什么又叫大种所造色呢？
And what is
我们回到原文
form
这一段
made by the 4 elements? Let's go back to the paragraph.
时间去一个个讲了。
I may have,
但是它内容
I may not have much time to talk in details this paragraph, but we can discuss in the future. What is the form made by the 4 elements? If we put together, if we categorize all the physical matters made by the 4 elements,
我没记错应该是11种，我们数一下。
If I don't remember wrong, there should be 11 types. There are the power of the eye, the power of the ear, the power of the nose, the power of the tongue, the power of the body, and then form, sound, smell, taste,
基本上它逻辑是什么样的？什么叫眼根呢？
and
the
last one is not obvious form. So there are 11 types. And what is the power of the eye?
在英文当中翻译成 power.
For this word 根 in English, it is power. This word
是什么意思？
power, what does it mean?
跟我们刚刚一开始看到这个色可能会有这个疑问一样。
It's like the same question we had when we saw the word 界 or form.
有更深的意思的。
And in Abhidharma, when you see such words, they may have a deeper meaning behind.
葛西老师在玄奘塔选的这些12本书，每一本书
The
代表一
12
个
books chosen by Geshe in Xuanzang Tower,
然后同一个
each
词
represents a different
在不同的语言 经典
or each represents a different language. And in all of these languages, each word may have a very different meaning. So in Abhidharma, what does this word power mean? We will discuss later. But you can understand this logic as 5 pairs plus 1.
认知的物质以及用以
5
认知
pairs
这个物质
mean
或者探测这个物质所需要的
the 5
器皿和器官。
perception
眼根是你用
and
来
the
看见色的，
objects of the 5 perceptions.
眼是用来
The
看
power
色
of
的，
eye
这些色就
is
不是指物质
to
了。大家可以猜一
perceive
猜，
form.
同样一个词，
And
前面我
this
们讲到
form doesn't mean physical matter.
色蕴的色，指的是
Just
物
now
质
we
的
also
意思。
talked about form. It was
那
a
这里的
physical
色
matter.
是
But this
是不
form
是也
here,
是指物
does
物
it
质？也
also
就是
mean
说，是
some
不是
physical
眼睛
matter?
所看到所有东西
Does
都
it
叫物质？
mean that
不是的，
what
比如
is
说眼睛是看不
perceived
见
by
声
the
音的，
eyes
很
are
明显就知道这里
or are
它所代
all
表的不是色蕴的
physical
色，
form?
也不只是
The
颜色
eyes
的色。
cannot
之后你会发
perceive
现颜色跟
sound.
形状，
So later you will find that
显色跟形色，到
shape
时候我们会看一下。
and
所以眼
color
对应的是
or
色，那耳朵自然的你就能
or
找到
like
规律。
later we will
对应的
understand this.
是声，
So now we look at the
能
second
够
pair.
听声，
The power of the ears are
鼻
to
能够闻
perceive
香，
sound, and the power of
吧？
the nose is to
舌
perceive
能够
smell.
触，能
The
够
power
尝
of the
味，
tongue is to perceive smell,
然
taste,
后身能够有
and the
触，
power of the body is
有
to
触，就是有触感。
perceive
你碰到你跟你的爱人拥抱，
touch,
你会能够感受到这个触。
like
但是这个触还有很
tactile
多不同的意
sense,
思，
the
比如说
touch.
后面你会发现
Like
渴也
if
是
you
一种
hug
触，
your
很有意思的。饿也是一种
significant
触，我对
other,
这对
then
饿很有
you
这个
you
深刻
will
的修
feel
习，
some kind of touch.
我对它很理解。今天早上吃了很多可颂，所以这个我们可以一步步去学，很有意思的。最后一个很
And the
特
last
别，
one is very
我
special.
看看有没有哪位朋友可以猜一下。
Let me see if any one of you can guess. Like the 10 just now, they can put into 5 groups. But how about this last one? Why is it so strange that there is an extra one?
别忘了它的大类
Don't forget
有人猜意识，但是你别忘了
the,
这个大类在
this category.
它还在大
Someone
中所
guessed
造成的，它是在
consciousness,
物质
but
里的，
don't forget
它还是属于物质
this
的。
is under
为什
form
么这个物
made
质有什
by
么东
the
西是
4
眼睛看
elements,
不见，耳朵
which
听
is
不到的，
under physical
等等等
matter.
等，但是还能称之为物质的。
Why
哈，这个
something
很有意思。对，
we cannot see,
有听
we
过
also
这
put
个
it
课
into
有
physical
深
matter.
度学习的朋友
This
们
is
就
very
知道。
interesting.
呼吸还不是，呼吸是能够探测得到的。对，呼吸是探测得到的。譬如说你触是能够感觉到呼吸的，眼也是能够看得到呼吸的。对，空气是某种程度眼睛看得见的，
You
或者耳
cannot,
朵听得到的。对，所以这个无表色就
this
是
last
刚
one,
刚有那个朋友已经说出来英文翻译叫
someone,
non-communicating karma，
someone
non-communicating
translated
form，
it as
non-communicating
non-communicating form.
有人说暗物质，挺有意思，暗物质。
Someone say it's dark matter. Very interesting, but no.
哎，我倒是想问问大家，觉得暗
I
物
would
质
like
会
to
放在哪
ask
里？
you if for dark matter, what's
我先说无表
where
色，
will
无
you
表色
put it?
就是前
First,
面
let
眼、耳、
me
鼻、舌、
talk
身、
about this
口
non-communicating
认知不到
form.
的，但是是属于物质的一种存在。
It is
对，只
part
有比
of
较特别的
an
人才能够看
physical
得到。譬
matter
如说
existence, but
阿
it
毗
cannot
达
be
摩当中很
perceived
经
by
典
all
的
the
案
powers.
例子，就是你如
One
果受了一个
famous
全数
example
戒
under Abhidharma is
入
if
山
you
不
have
到，杀到隐不
taken
疑
the 5
无望
vows,
不久
the
之
one-day
后，
vow,
你身上会有一个特别的光环，对，戒体，这个戒体
then
是
you will
有
have
个 halo，
an
有个光环，
aura or a
但是普通人
halo
看不见，也闻不到，
around
也
your
嗅不到，
body,
摸不到，
which cannot be seen by normal
也
people
听不
and
到。
cannot
但
be
是譬如说，
touched or
有
smelled
着很高境界的
or
菩萨，
listened.
可能本书的作
But
者，
for some
他对你
very
会有
high
一点点
level
说，你有
bodhisattva,
受
they
戒，我
can
知道。
see this halo. They
嗯
know that you have taken your
但
vows.
是回到刚刚那个，我
But
觉得很有意思的问题，那暗物质
back
放哪
to
里？
the very interesting question. If we talk about dark
大
matter,
家觉得呢
where do we
Dark
put it?
matter 在科学新发现当中的暗物
It's
质，
a
现在
new
据
thing
说
discovered
有
by
此
science.
时此刻就有成吨成吨的暗物质穿
We are
梭过我们的身体。
seeing that now there are tons and tons of dark matter going through our body.
大家可以猜一下。
You can guess.
目前我比较倾向于放到耳根当中，它
For
它
me,
不
I
知道
would
不
now put
是
it
不存在，是因为
under
耳根，人类的耳根
the
眼根
power
，sorry 说
of
错了，眼根，
the
眼
power
根
of
对应
the
的色
eye,
里面，因为
or
色
I will
当
put
中还
it,
可以分很多
I will
系
put it under
对
the form
这里的
perceived
眼
by
是
the
这
power
里的
of the
色，
eye.
也就是说，如果
So
你
it
眼
is
根
some
发
form
展
perceived by the eye.
加了更
Meaning, if
细
you
微的
develop
探测仪，譬如
your
说一个
power
能够
of the
看见
eye and you
有
have
光谱了。
a
对 maybe 或许暗物
better
质也放哪里，不知道，
power
只是猜
that
测，
you
但很有
can
意思，可以思考一下
perceive
这个
different
问
spectrum
题。
that you may be able to see it.
好，
It's just
那
my
我们就
guess.
讲完色蕴了。接下来有几个词可以稍微的说一下。
I would like to
比如
talk
说
about a
为什么
few
叫
words
四大所造？这个造是什么意思？
like why do
造者
we
因意 ，OK，
name it
也就是说 四
form
大为因，
caused
因生
form
果，
caused
因
by
造果嘛。
the
所以
4
为什么叫
elements?
四大所造？这里代表的就是四
Why
大都
caused
是
by?
因。刚刚我们已经讲到了，
This
四
caused
大
by
根
means the
四
4
大所造
elements
色
are the cause.
是有因果关系的。
So the 4
然后为
elements,
什么
the
叫
form
根？
caused
这
by
个我
it
相信
has
是大
a
家比
karmic
较感兴趣的
relationship.
话题。眼根、耳根为什么叫根？
And about this word power,
为什么叫根？
why do
这
we
里
call
有
it
好几个
power?
意思。
There are
如
a
果你
few
看得懂
meanings
中文的
here.
话，你可以自己
If you
琢磨一下。
know
最受此
Chinese,
在意，
you
主
can
义、
try
中
to
上意是为根。对
guess it.
，OK。譬如说他这里解释了什么主义，以谁为主？譬如说眼
Like here,
根与眼识为主，生眼识。所以这里的根指的是为
this
主。譬如说眼根就不会生
word power
耳
is
识，
mainly, like it
对吧？
mentions about
对于我们
mainly,
普通人
like
来讲，
the
佛陀可能不一样，
power of the
有
eye
些超常能力
cannot
的人不一样。
cause
我这里有一位朋友，
ear consciousness. I know a person who is a very good yoga teacher. One day I feel very frustrated, and she came to my back and touched my back, and after a few seconds, she said, "Stanley, are you feeling frustrated?" So I'm not sure. Maybe she can perceive something other people cannot perceive through the power of the body. But here it mentions about mainly, so it is the or the consciousness that the power mainly corresponds to.
它是有很强大的力量的，而且它能够不断增上生发嘛，对吧？而且一颗植株有什么根，某种程度就决定它能生什么果。用这根这个词其实是很
plant, what kind of roots it has
很多层考虑的。
can tell us what kind of fruits it will give.
后面有很多
Chinese word power, gun also means root in Chinese. And here in the later part, Master Stiramati also had more explanation. What is the power of eye? What is the power of the ear? What is the power of the tongue? I will not go through it one by one. You can read it later. But when you see this word, 眼根, the power of eye, you may understand it as the eyeball, but not really. Because you can see someone who has an eyeball, but he doesn't have the perception. So this power of eye, meaning the power to see. If you are a blind person, you have an eyeball, but you cannot see. So having an eyeball doesn't mean you have the power of the eye.
可以去在大家自己看一看。
More specifically, you can
其
read
实这些内容在
details
前
here,
7年的
which is
小
very
阿比达摩的
interesting.
课当中，我相信很
And
多
we
朋友应该很有
also
印象，都讲过。
talked about
包括
this
这个
in
眼
the
根的根它
Abhidharma
是什么
kosher
形状，
classes
用放
before,
大镜，你要想想这是
including the
2500
shape
年
of
前
this
创造出来
power
的。
of the eye,
那
power
时候
of
是
the
没有放大
ear.
镜的。
In the
但是
ancient
那
times,
时候
there
还
was
能够告诉我们
no
这个眼根是什么蘑菇的形状啊，耳根又是什么芽的形
microscope.
状，它到底是怎么看到的？
We would also discuss what is the shape
所以那个
of
时
this
候的科学家很
power
多
of the eye,
很
the
多
power
那个
of
时
the
候的科
ear.
学家
How
是
do we see it?
某种程度
And
不
the
需要靠
scientists
这个外在的
in those
设备一
times
起的，他们有
didn't
特别
need
的
to rely on the
好
devices, outer
然后呢
devices.
讲完这个五
They have
根
their
之
way
后
to
五色根
find out
五种
the
物质的
details.
根之后，就开始讲它的对境。
And
云
after
何
we
为
talked
色？
about the 5 powers, we are talking about the
刚刚就讲到了这
corresponding
里
objects.
有显色跟
What
形
is
色以
form?
及表色。对，在阿比达摩当中，基
Abhidharma,
本上只讲2种，显
basically
色
we
跟
only
形色。
talk about
为什么这
two
里多了
types.
一个表色？我还没有
One
探
is
究过，
the
就是大家
obvious
可以有
form,
兴趣可以
one
去发
is
掘一下，
the
对比一下。
uh,
所以每一个都有详尽的解释，我今天没办法全
form,
部过了，因为
formal
不然的话
form.
后面的4韵都去不到了。所以我只是跟大家过一下这个
I will
大
just
纲。
only briefly go through this
从这
part.
个色到声，
After form, we will see
然后香。
sound
顺便一提啊，
and then
我
smell.
们都上玄
By
奘
the way,
翻译课的玄奘塔翻译课的朋友，应
those
该都
who
会比
come
较
to
在意语
Xuanzang
言这件
Tower
事情。
classes, I think most
你
of
看
you
这里的语言
concern about the topic
放
of
到了声这里。 我
language.
之前也想过这个问
You
题，为
can
什么
you can see that this
语言不是色
language is
文
put
字，
under
不是色呢？
sound.
不是眼睛
Why
所见的，
why is
要
it
放到声
not
这里是耳
under
朵所
form,
听的，
but it is
这个挺
under
有意思。
sound?
因为语言是承载
Because
智慧的工具，没有语言是无法
language is a
教
tool
授智慧，
to
没有办
pass
法习
on
得智慧的。
wisdom.
所以其实语言对我们来讲很
If
重要。
we do not have
但是它放
language,
在
we
了
cannot
声这里，声这里
hold
也就是说要靠耳朵的
this wisdom.
才能够获得的。
And
我不知
to
道这代表
learn
什
this
么，但我
wisdom,
觉得很有意思，把它放在
we
这里。
need our ears.
然后有
So
香，
I find it very interesting
顺便一提哈，
put
这里的香不是指
language
香喷喷
under
的香，
sound.
因为它还有
And
恶香，
next we see
臭
smell.
也是香，
It doesn't only mean good smell. So you can see there is
臭
also bad smell
也是
here.
香。 所以学了阿比达摩，你可以
Stinky smell is also a kind of smell.
骂人。哦，今天你香气很重哦。
So after you learn Abhidharma, you can say say to someone you have a very strong smell today.
有味。
And next we have
味还分
taste.
这个，我不知道英文要怎么翻译，这个太难了。
which
甘
is
醋
also
这个念什么？ 碱吗？
broken down
辛
into sweetness,
淡
sourness, saltiness,
是咸的还是
spiciness,
碱？
bitterness.
碱是吧 ？OK。然后什么叫醋？
And
什么叫醋？
what is
醋也有很多的讲究。滑的醋
it can
跟
also be
涩
broken
的
down
醋，
into a lot of
重的
kinds.
醋
There
跟
is the
轻的醋，
smoothness,
冷的醋、激的醋、热的
wetness,
醋、饿的醋，
heavy touch,
渴的
light
醋、
touch,
渴的醋。
cold touch, hunger
OK
or thirst.
所以这个醋本身是很有意思，然后
So
你会
this
发现我们生活
touch
当中很
itself
多
is
的
very
行为
interesting.
都是
We
受到这
find
个
that
醋所影
a
响。
lot of our behavior in our life is
你被
affected
它
by
操
this
控的可能都不知
touch.
道，但这里
You may
是
not
深知
even
境
realize
当中
that
的
you
醋，可以
are
还是
being
好好
controlled by it.
去那个研究一下。它怎么定义滑，怎么定义涩，
How
怎么
does
怎么
it
叫重，什么叫
define
轻，都很清楚。
smoothness,
这个是我对于阿比达摩很琢磨、很
wetness, etc.
痴
is
迷
very
的一个地
clear.
方。你几乎能
This
够
is
在阿
one
比达
of the
摩
reasons
当中找
I'm
到这个
so
世界上任何事情的定义。
I love Abhidharma
这个
so
东
much
西
because
是
you
重
can
是
find
轻
all the
怎么定义？
definitions
很有
in
意
the
思。什么叫
universe.
渴？什么叫饿？
What is thirst? What
饿
is
是格夏
hunger?
老师所学的所通达的几大中文单词当中很重要的一个。
Hunger is one of the important
到
words
底什
that
么叫饿？
Geshe
挺有意思的，可以去好好看一下。
likes to
好，
use.
这里我想稍微讲一讲
Here I'd like to
无
briefly
表
talk
色
about
里面，你看在小阿比达摩当
non-communicating
中，
form.
主要讲那个戒律戒体
In
这个比喻，
Abhidharma Kosha,
但是在这
we
里
talk
在
about the
大阿比
metaphor
达摩
of
当中
the fowl.
讲到了
But
三摩
in
地
this
所生
Abhidharma
也有无
Samuchaya,
表色，这个是在
we
小阿比达摩没有的。三摩地就是
talk
深深
about
的冥想，譬如
caused
说
by
这
samadhi,
里
which
你
we
看
didn't mention in
三摩
the
地所
Abhidharma
生
Kosha.
色
Here
者
it
为
says
静虑所生
form
色，
that is caused
静
by
虑就是
samadhi
深度的冥想。
is the
四静
form
虑，比如我们经常听到的
caused
四禅，
by the
就是
four
四定律的意
meditative
思，一禅、二
states.
禅、三禅、四禅等等
The
所
four
生的
meditative
色。
states
也就是说，
cause
你冥想
this
足够
kind of
深入之
form,
后，你会有
meaning
特别的悟
if
识
you
产
have
生。
a good
嗯，
and deep
现
meditation,
在在这个意识起
you
源的这
have
个
this
前沿科学领域，就一直在探
form
究这
cause.
个其实是物质跟意识之间的关
And
系。
now we are
这里或许会能够
talking
得到一
about
些启
the
发。我个人很
relationship
喜欢阿比达
between
摩的一个
matter
原因，
and
就是
mind.
他讲了很多现在前
One
沿科
reason I
学
love
相关的内容，
Abhidharma is because
你
it's
会能够
talking
找到
about
一
a
些
lot of the
独特的
scientific
见地
topics
在这里。
in the ancient times.
然后这里你看，无表色是所造性
And
名
here
善
it
律
says
离不善律的一名业一名
non-communicating
种子。
form is caused.
如果你不通达不同语言的
It's
话，
called
你看
good.
到种子，你可能想到的唯一的理解就是业力的种子，对不对？
If you don't understand this,
但是在阿比达摩大乘的阿比达摩里面，种子还有别的意思，
in Mahayana
是这
Abhidharma,
种
there's a
善律
different
与
meaning
不善律
for
所造的
seeds.
色，
It is caused by
就叫
following
种
the
子。
vows well or not well.
这个
This
我不
is
知道
called
大家有没有
seeds.
听过，我今天第一次看到这句话，挺有意思的吧？所以如果你能够学不同的语言的话，我看到 Ben Kramer 老师已经眼睛睁大了，估计
I
他
see
也
that
是第一次听到，我也是第一次听到
friend
种子还有无
teacher
表色的意思。
Ben
种子还有无表色的意
has
思。
a very special facial expression.
所以业也是无表色，
Seeds have a meaning of non-communicating form.
业
So
也是无
meaning
表色吗？
is karma also non-communicating?
这个有时间的话，我们
If you have time,
讲下去就违背了我今天这堂课的宗旨了。这堂
if
课
we
是要上
continue
一
to
堂
talk about this,
无聊枯燥的课，所以我不能往下讲了。
then
Move on，
I
继续
cannot
然后开始讲
let's move on.
受孕。我们还有15分钟时间，我们可以把这个
We
过
still
完。
have 15 minutes. Let's finish
受
this.
孕怎么分？顺便一提啊，这个
What is
孕
the
我忘记哪里有没
heap
有
of
解释了，但是孕
feeling?
是
I
聚
forget if we talked about this
聚
heap.
意。孕的意思
Heap
是一堆东西
means
聚在一起成为孕，
a group of
集聚
things
在一
put
起。
together,
所以
a
当你
pile
看
of
到孕这
things.
个词的时候，
So
不要
if
想
you
一
see
个
this
东
word
西，
yin or heap,
可以想象就是
don't
我们
think of
中
it
国
as
同学
one item.
文化输出，
For
我
us
们读书的
Chinese
时候，
students,
我记得每周都有一个
I
校园
remember when we
那个
were
搞卫
at
生的日子，
school,
大家我记得
there
那时候我们
always a
大家都要
day
穿
of
校服，然后
of
每个人分一把这个扫把，
cleaning
然后在校园
in
里面
every
扫落
week,
叶。
and
我不知道
everyone
大
has
家
to
的学
take
校是
a
不是也是这样的？每周好像都有
broom
一
and
次值日嘛，分到哪
sweep
个
the
班，
floor.
哪个班就是要搞卫生，要美好的童年时光、青少年时光。
Like in
然
our
后那时候呢，
childhood, we
这个
always
老
had
师就很
those
教我们
times.
把所有的树叶把
And
它
in
扫在
those
一块，
days, our
然
teacher
后
would
再拿一个
ask
大的
us
地铲
to
拿进去
sweep
把
all
它
the
扫
leaves
走。
into a pile.
所以这个运就
And
是那
then
一堆你扫起
some
来的叶
garbage
子，
truck would take it away.
树叶，称
So
之
for
为
this word
运。
heap,
所以当我们
yun,
想到
you
这
can
后面
think
无
of
论
it as the
是
pile of
受孕、
leaves,
响应性的
leaves.
使孕的时候，要想的是一堆一堆的东西。
So when we are
你
talking
的
about
身
these
体
5
是一
heaps,
堆
we
一
should
堆
think
东
of
西
them as
组合起来的，
5
不是一个。
piles of things.
那
Our
什么？
body is
那
made up
受
of piles
感
of
受
things,
的受，
not just
受孕。
individual things.
当我们讲到受孕的时候，
And
我们已
about
经
this
讲完物
heap
质，
of the thing,
前面的
heap
色
of
蕴
the
都是在
feeling,
讲物质。接下来我们要进入到非物质的阶段了。
it is
我问大家一个，考大家一个
something
问题啊，
non-physical.
如果讲完物质，是不是就剩下意识了？
So
也就是
now
说，
I'd
后
like
面
to
的
ask you,
四蕴
because we
全部
have
都在
finished
讲意
talking
识，
about physical, does it mean the
是
rest is mental?
这样推理对吧？
If we guess it this way,
没有物质完了
are
就
we
是意识。
right? After physical, is everything else mental?
哎呀，怎么同学们大家都这么的聪明，没有考倒任何人。OK， 对，还有第三类是非物
All
质
of
非
you
意识，
are
很有意
right
思。
because
所以要想，
there's
要
still
想
the
一下。
third
但
type.
是大部
They
分
are
在这儿
neither
全部都
physical
在这儿，
nor
基本上在
mental.
行运里面，
They are
非物质非
all
意
in
识。
the fourth heap,
那我们先看一
the
下，
other factors.
好，我们来看受孕，把它请到这儿来，给他一个单独的空间。这里讲到受孕有3，
Here we are
乐受、苦受、不
talking
苦
about
不乐受。
3 types
3类。
under the heap of
所以
feeling.
你
There are 3
无论
types.
今天有任何的这个生活工作的辛酸苦
So
辣，你
in
都可以把它
your
归到这3类
life
当
today,
中，
if you have
有任何的
any
感觉感
feeling,
受。
happy feeling,
最终
unhappy feeling, or
最近有
whatever
一个
kind
新
of
的名
feeling,
词，
you
但是
can
就是一
put
个老概
it
念了，但是最
under
近有一个新名词，尤其
these
是疫
3.
情之后，在英文叫做
After
feel
COVID,
good
we have
economy，
a new term,
就是
which
叫
is
做
feel good economy.
乐受经济吧，你可以这么理解。就是
You
现
can
在大家特别
understand
愿
it
意
as
为让
some
自己
good
感觉到很
feeling
爽的事情
economy,
买单。
meaning now you pay for what
其实
makes
就
you feel good.
譬如说以前的消
For
费
example,
观念，可能我
in
们
the
如果是
past,
上一代人，
our
对我而言，
thinking
上一
of
代人就是
consumer
有用
behavior is
功能好才买。
we
那现在如
only
果你看
buy
很多的电子产品，功能
things
基本上
that
都
are
不相
useful and
上
have
下
good
的时候，
functions.
这个感受好不好就很重要。
But now we look into whether
是
it
不是手
gives us
机都
gives us a
长一
good
个样的
feeling?
时候，车都同质
Because
化
now,
很
like
严
when
重的
all
时候，
the
什
phones
么
look
地
the
方让你感受
same,
好，你可能就更能够抓住消费者的心。所
if
以叫
the
feel good economy，
product
乐受
can
经济。我很喜欢
let
这
the
个概念，不知
consumer
道为什
feel
么。
good, then you will have more
所
chance.
以
I love this
回到阿毗达
concept.
摩当中，有
Now
乐
back
受、
to
苦受，还
Abhidharma,
有不苦
we have
不乐受。所以别忘了，其实
joyful
乐
feeling,
跟苦大家可能
unjoyful
比较了
feeling,
解。
and
对，
feeling that is neither
离苦得乐，离苦得乐，我
joyful
们整天这样说。
or
但不
unjoyful.
苦不乐其实占了更大的比例，在我们的感
So
受当
this
中，
third
很多的
type of
background， 很多的
feeling
背景，这个
has a
感
bigger
受，就是
proportion
不
in
会站
our
在舞
life,
台正中央的，在背景一直在运作的，
but
有很
it's
多不苦不
always
乐的感
in
受
the
一直在进
background.
行的，所以你的
It is
受啊
always
从来没
happening
有
in the
停止
background.
的，一直有在，
And your feeling has never stopped.
一
It's
直都在，
always
受一直都在
happening.
啊，无论是苦的还是乐的，还是不苦不
No
乐的。
matter
我问大家一个
it
问
is
题：
happy
当
feeling
你
or
圆满
unhappy
成
feeling
就
or
之后，成为
neutral
Buddha
feeling. May I ask
之
you,
后，还
after
有
you
受吗？
become Buddha, do you still have feeling?
还有吗？因为 在江湖传闻有一种观点，就是
because
智慧
there's
修行
a
的意思就是让
point
你没有感受，遇到事情
that
宠辱不惊，云淡风
there's
轻。
some saying that
美好的事情发生了，不要窃喜；
you
不好的
just
事情
feel
发生了，
very
不要
calm,
悲伤，停留在
no ups and downs, no
中
joyful
性的阶
feeling
段。
or unjoyful feeling after you reach
那
that
实际
state.
上
But
你看这个中性的阶段也不用修行，因为
actually,
我们一直有不苦不乐受，一直
if
在进
we
行当中，它
just
在背
stay
景，
in this
没有必要
neutral
专门为它修
state,
行。
then we don't need to practice because we
所以
always
这个
have
是很
it.
值得去问自己的一个问题。
So it
也
is a
就是说，如果
very
你学习智
important
慧圣
question
学
to
的话，
ask
理应你
ourselves.
会成为一个更
Meaning,
能够
if
享
you
受生活的人。
learn wisdom and become
离
enlightened,
苦得乐的意思就是
how will
乐
you
更
be?
多，苦更少嘛。也就是
Will
说，
you be further
理
away
应你的
from
生活越来越
suffering
好，
and have more happiness?
越来越好。
You should have a
对
better and
啊，有
better
人用
life.
极乐这个词 ，yeah。 对，
Someone talked about bliss
佛陀有另外一个名号就叫极
in
乐
the
国。
chat room,
所以，
and the Buddha has
所以你
another
如果
name,
想要
the
找智慧修行的老师，我自己一个个人的观点就
the
找那些
being
很
of
开心的
bliss.
人，很重要。找那整天乐呵呵、很开心
So
的人。葛西老
one
师就是这么一个
important
人。
point
因为
is
最近
to
刚
stay near to
陪同老
those
师
people
去
who are always
就是
happy,
做
like
手术
Geshe.
啊、看医生啊，
And
就
we
发现
recently
整个医院最
accompanied
开心的人不
Geshe
是医生，是
to
老师，都不知道怎么搞的。
a
这个医生
hospital
看到老师觉得很奇
and
怪，
had a
你
surgery,
开
and
心
we
啥
found
呀？
that
就是
he is the happiest
有一
person
个
in
医
the
生
whole
有一天
hospital.
终于忍不住了，
And one
他
day,
就说，
a
因为他
doctor,
不知道老师是谁，他就问说，
the that
罗奇
doctor
先生，
didn't
你
know
平
Geshe.
时是不是有做什么冥
And
想之类
he
的？
came to ask Geshe, I'm just wondering,
你
do
跟
you
别人不
do
太一样，别人都看
meditation
到他的消
regularly?
息的时候，
Because
你
you
就
are
开始
so
流泪，
different from all
你
the
就有
rest.
点笑哈哈的，为什么
All the other people are
？OK， 这是
having
受孕。
a bad day, and you are
然
still
后到
laughing
下一个
happily.
叫享运，这个享
And
运
the
呢，其实
next
是可以
is
大做文章的。
the heap
我
of
自己很喜欢
discrimination.
去琢磨这个
For
享
this
运这
heap,
个事儿。
there is a lot to say.
我们这里先简单的看一看，享运
We
能
will
增
first
胜
look at it
取
briefly.
诸境相。什么叫增胜取者？胜利能取啊，如大利者，说明胜利啊。这个享运怎么去理解？
How do we
简单的
understand
一种
this
方式就是
heap
你
of
意识有一个能力
discrimination?
啊，
To put it
可以
briefly,
去
you have an
帮你
ability
映
in
射
your
出
mind
那个出现在意识面前
to
那个对象，能够捕捉出他的身份，
grasp or
叫享运。
discriminate or identify
所以
the
叫取
identity
境。
of the
看这里有一
object
个关键
before
词
you.
取诸境。
So there is this
你要知道的
keyword
是，在阿毗达摩当
grasp
中，每一个
or
境
engage.
都是能持自性。今天我们讲过，每一个
And you
境
have to
都
understand
是能持
that
自性，它都有它自己独特的
all
性
the
质的，
all
才能
the
够称之为一个存在。
things
在
we
阿
are
毗达摩里面，
discussing
而
in
想有一个功
Abhidharma
能，就
has
是
its
它能够
nature.
一碰到它，
And this
你就能
function
够
of
立
the
刻捕捉它的
discrimination
特
is
点，
when you engage
然后
in
认
something,
识到它。
you can
所以我想要问大
identify
家这个问题：如果这是
this
想的意
object.
思，
So
那
I'd like to ask you
当你
for
圆
this
满之后，
discriminating
极乐之
mind,
后，没
after
有
you
苦，没有
become
悲伤之
enlightened,
后，
after you
没有问
reach
题之后，你
a
还有
blissful
享运，
state, after you don't have any more problem, do you still have
你
this
还能
heap
够辨
of
别分别
discrimination?
事物吗？
Can you still identify or
如果可以的话，那我们当下的
discriminate
享运有什么问
things?
题？
If yes, what is the problem of our
理
discrimination in
应
the very beginning?
这里的五蕴都是有问题的，我们当
Because
下的五蕴都是问题，所以
we should
你从
understand
五
that
蕴的角度去理解
these 5
践
heaps
行智慧
heaps
这件事情，
should be
你可以把它
problematic.
理解为就是把五
When you
蕴
are
转
trying
化
to
成
practice, you should
更高的一种
understand it as
境界，
trying to convert these
原有
5
的五
heaps
蕴
into a higher
升华，
state, to
但不代表消灭它，
not
这是很
not
关键的一个
to
不同。在
not
大乘
to
阿毗达摩
stop
当中，
all
一个
of
重
them,
要的
but
观点
to
就是五
convert them.
蕴是
In
可以精
Abhidharma,
通
there's a very
转化
important
为独特
concept
的智
is
慧的。
to transform the 5 heaps into
所以我们现在已经有享运了，然后
very high
那些
wisdom.
圆满成功的人也有享运。
And since now we already have this discrimination, and if those enlightened beings also have discrimination, what is the difference? We have to ask ourselves this question. And in Abhidharma, there are 51 mental functions, and we have put thinking and discrimination into two individual categories, into two piles of leaves. So like when you are in your campus trying to sweep the leaves, you put this type of leaves into a pile. This type is you can just burn it away. Like here, we put feeling and discrimination into two individual piles. Why? Because it is affecting our life every day. And later, you will learn a lot about the mental functions. You can see there are many of these mental functions here. These are and different stages of anger and shame, dullness, agitation. These are two enemies for meditation. Sleep is very important. Wisdom, faith, these are very important. Control your mind. Putting your mind into somewhere and thinking from all of these mental functions, these 51 types. Why do we put thinking and discrimination into two individual piles? Because theoretically, you can have 51 heaps. So meaning apart from these two, you can put in 49 more heaps. Plus the other three, you can have 54 heaps. So why do we categorize the thinking and discrimination into two heaps? And don't forget, these 5 heaps are the first teaching and one of the most important teaching by Gautama. And many people saw emptiness directly after listening to this teaching. When Geshe first mentioned about this, I was very excited, but after now more than 10 years, still nothing happened, but I still believe it is very important. And why do we put these two into a separate category? I have 3 more minutes. I will just conclude this part. And you can see
你看，在时运当中就提到
you can see that in this Mahayana version, when we look at the heap of consciousness, we are talking about the alaya consciousness. To prove that this book is under mind only. And here you can understand that all the 8 consciousnesses are put under this last heap. The 8 consciousness of mind only are put here. And the form and the heap of other factors, normally when you go to different classes, you will see this heap put in the very end. You will first talk about the other 4 heaps, then you will say all the rest are under this form of heap of other factors. Including the very important me is under this heap. Me is under
如
this
果
heap.
我在里头的话，这意味着
If
什么？
I am
我
under this
如
one,
果我在行运里面，那我跟受运是什
if
么关系？
if me is under this heap
也
of
就是说，
other
我跟我的
factors,
身体是什么关系？
so
如果
what
我是放在
relationship
行
do
运里
me
的，
have with my
我
body?
跟我的
If
身
me
体是什
is
么关系？
under the other factors, what
我
is
跟
the
我的感
relationship
受，我的
between
触又
me
是什
and
么
my
关系？
body, between me and
我的
my
实又是什么关系？
feeling, between me and my
不应
touch,
该是一体，为什么呢？因为五运
etc.?
是分开的。
They should not be one. Why? Because the
如
five
果
heaps
是
are
都
separate.
讲的是一件事儿，就不用分五
If
运了。你要别忘了我
they
们
are
那个
one
校
thing,
园
then we don't need to
搞卫生的比
discuss
喻，其
about
实我们
the
现在把
five
所有东西
heaps.
扫成了5队，
Like when we were
然后你把
sweeping the
我放
leaves
在其中一
in
队，
our school, we are trying to
那
put
剩
them
下的
into
是什么？
different piles. If we put them
很
into
有
the
意思的。
same
如果你
pile,
仔细想一想的
it's
话，
meaningless.
当我在生气的时候，
If
我
I
在
am
行运里面，
angry,
然后
but
那
me
个我
is
生的
under
气
other factors, the
的对
anger
境，
that
我
I
们在
have
色运里面，
or the object that I'm
然后我生的那个气，那个愤
angry
怒本身，在
with
也在行运里面，但同时我的时运也
are
多了一
in
层
this
这个
other
愤怒的
factors,
相，
but
被染了
in
色，
my heap
然
of
后我的意
consciousness,
识已
I
经
have
是
a
被这个
consciousness of
愤
anger.
怒所
My
染色了，
consciousness is tainted
然后它也
by
发生了
this
改变，但
anger,
是又在另外
so
一队
it
里面。
has changed.
然后当我
But
生气的时
that
候，你
thing
可
is
想而知，你
in
的受
another
跟
heap.
想反应都是非常强烈的。
And when I'm
而
angry,
实际上，
my feeling is very
理
strong.
论上是先
My
受想发生了
thinking or
变
my
化，才会有
discrimination
这个
is
愤
also
怒。
very strong.
它又在另外一队里面，这五运它
Someone
一
also
直在
say
相互
because
发
there
生
is
关系的。
discrimination which causes the anger. So
当你
these are
学完，
in
你可以
another
想象一
heap.
下，如果你
So
是这么
what is
看
the
待自己
relationship?
的话，
If you think about it and if you look at yourself in this way,
那你会怎么样去过自己的生活？
then how will
因
you
为
live
很
your
多时
life?
候我们把自己
Because most of the
当作
time
是一个人、一个东
we
西
see
来对待，但
ourselves
实际
as
上你是
one
一个很完整的系统，
thing, one
然后再相互影
individual
响。
thing. But actually we are a
这
system.
个就到我今天要
That
问大
is
家最后的一个问题，然后就我们可以来一
affecting
起讨论一下，
one
采
part
来
is
采矿
affecting
一下。
other
这个
parts.
问题是什么呢？
And
我没
I'd
时
like to
间
also
讲这
ask
个了，
a
但是
question that we can discuss later.
在同样一本书里面，在大乘阿毗达摩里面
In this Mahayana
讲到了
Abhidharma,
有5种见，5种邪见嘛，5种
we
错
talk
误的
about
见解。
5 wrong views.
这5种见都在这个五蕴里面，我们都有
These
的，
5
不用担
wrong
心，你我
views
都是共
are
享的。我
all
们
in
这个
these 5
邪
heaps.
见的资
All
源
of
非常
us
丰
have
富，大
these
家都很多，不用
because
争
we
夺。
have a very abundant
如
source
果
of
你不
wrong
够的
views.
话，我会
So
分
don't
给
worry,
你。
we all have it. If you don't
里
have
面
enough,
当
I
中最
can
重要的一
share
个
some of
就
mine
是
with you.
萨迦耶见，the view of
One
destruction， 对，
one
这
of
个意
the
见，也
wrong
就是
views is the
12
view of
因缘的第一
destruction,
支里面的那种
which
误
is the
解。
first link in the 12
然后
links,
他这里
the
讲到说，
misunderstanding.
这一句，
Here it
如果
says,
你对于这5蕴有以下这些看法，你
if
就
you
产
have
生
the
了误解。
following views on your
什么
5
看
heaps,
法呢？
then you
见一
already have
见场，
misunderstanding. What are those
你见到有一
views?
个我在听课，
You see one, you see oneness, you see one
嗯，
person of myself coming
好，
to class.
你对于我看到了一个我，
You see
你对于我
yourself
觉得
as
是不
one
见，这5
person.
蕴是有任何不变的，或
You
者你
see
觉得
it
我
as
在5
not
蕴之外，
changing,
或者你觉
or
得
you see
我
it
的感受是我的
beyond
感受，
5
蕴
heaps,
为我
or you
所的意思
see
是
your
我的
own
受蕴，我的
feeling
想蕴，我的色
as
蕴。
my
当
feeling.
你产生任何其中一
If
个这样
you
的对5
have
蕴的
all
误解的时
these
候，
misunderstanding of the 5
你就
heaps,
产生了萨迦
then
耶见，
you
也就
have
是
the
12
field
因缘
of
的第一支，
destruction, which
然后
is
你
the
就困
first
在
link
了
in the wheel of life.
生生不息的痛
And
苦
you
的
are
困难当
already
中。
stuck in this
正
never-ending
是这个原
suffering.
因，乔达
And
摩在最初才给我们讲
just because
五
of
蕴，
this,
因为是要破
Gautama taught the 5
这个
heaps in the very
第一
beginning,
支
which
误解
is
这一支。
to
OK， 这一段大家有兴趣也可以琢
stop
磨一下，
this
可以琢磨一下。
cycle.
对对，也叫坏
For
去
this
见。你看这里萨迦
paragraph,
耶的萨就是败坏的意思，然后
this
迦耶就是聚合
field
的意
of
思，那和合聚
destruction
集的意思，所
means
以也叫坏去见。
means
这个是大
bad
乘阿毗达摩的原文，对，这是这本书的名
bad
字。所以这就是为
collection.
什么我们今天要列这个清单的。 回到这，你看这个五蕴，我们今天只是列了一点点，
So you can
那实
see
际上可以
for this
延展很多的。为
five
什么
heaps, we have just
要给我们
listed
讲那
out
么多这些
a
一个
little
接一个的经
part,
典？
but
终
you
极来讲，
can
就是
see
要坏掉
from
我
this
们
that
心中最邪恶的一个念头，
we are trying
最具
to
有破坏力的
understand
一个念头，
this and
这叫
ultimately
坏境界
to
或者萨迦业境。
to
然后那个
stop
念头，
this
那个想法，
very
那
first
个固执己
view
见，
of destruction,
创造所有的问题，所有的麻烦。
which causes
所以从
all
这个角
our
度来讲，五
problems
蕴是
and
很值得去学习。
troubles.
阿毗达摩是很值
So
得学
that's
习，
why
所以他
five
才能
heaps
够
is
进
very
入到这玄奘塔
worthwhile
12
to learn.
本排前12的其中一本
And
经典当中。
that is why this book
OK，
is one of
好
the
了，
12
那
books
这
that
就是
we
今
learn
天
at
的一
Xuanzang
个
Tower.
内容。我 PPT 就不分享
As
了。
my
那
teaching
接下来
today,
呢，大家可以各抒己见一下，
next
看看
we
你觉得今
can
天这些内容
express some of our
对于
viewpoints. What do you
你
think
的
about
生
what we
活
have
工作有
learned
什么帮
today?
助？
What does it
我们可以一
do?
起来
How
共
can
创。
it help
这个
your
时候呢，
life?
你就要启动这个行运当中的
Now you
慧
have to
思，
activate your
就要把里面
wisdom
的
in the other
昏沉跟
factors
掉举先放开，
and put away
要
the dullness
让
and
慧与
agitation
思发挥作用，然
and
后
activate your
你
knowledge
的
and wisdom in the other factors.
你的身根，也就是说，尤其是你的嘴巴要启动，
And especially
然后才
activate
能
your
够
power
诞
of
生
the
语
mouth
言，才能够传
in
让其
order
他
to
朋
give
友的
birth
耳
to
根接收
language
到，
and
它
so
才能
that
够
our
产生
our
耳
peers,
识，
our
产
friends
生
can
新的理解，才能够帮助
as
到对方的
receive it
八识，
by their power
尤
of
其
the
是帮他
ear
切掉莫
and
那识
to help
70这一颗肿
the
瘤。
the our peers
OK，
to remove the
好，
seventh
有没有任何朋
consciousness.
友可以想要分享一下？
Is any one of
我
you
们有
want to
8分
share?
钟的讨论
We
时间。
have 8 minutes for sharing.
English is also very welcome, or Russian, or Spanish, or anything. And I think Geshe Michael is correct. When you want to ask people to meditate, it's all noise. And when you want people to talk, they go into samadhi.
Hello,
Hello,
teacher.
你好。
Thank you for your teaching. It's very cool. I have a feeling today that in the very beginning, you mentioned about 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind. And I had a question. There is an element dissolution meditation, which was taught by Geshe and translated by you. I remember in DCI, you also taught us that the reason to do a meditation is to become our meditation object. So I'm thinking when I do this dissolution meditation, in the first few stages, the dissolution of the 4 elements, if we do this dissolution meditation, will it allow us to plant seeds to see the dissolution of the 4 elements in our world, which means death? Then I'm thinking, of course, uncertainty in life is true. But I'm thinking about this point, if we are trying to become the meditation objects ourselves, is this meditation trying to let us see this dissolution of the elements? Because we don't have much time, I cannot talk in too much details, but your essence of the essence of your question is whether we should do death meditation. Meaning, if we do a lot of death meditation, do we die sooner, or we will see more death around us? It's not like this. It depends on how you do it. When we are talking about the keep of discrimination, if you are scared of death, if you take death meditation as your object, if you are scared of death, of course, this is not good. But you can also understand death in a wise way, like death is certain, and the time of your death is uncertain. And when you die, it's only good seeds can help you. If you understand these 3 important points, then you have planted very good seeds. So this element dissolution is meditation is the same. If you focus on the emptiness, you are planting the more deeper understanding on emptiness. Like when we learn death meditation, it's the same. It's not to let you feel more frightened about death. It's to let you get real freedom from death. For the same object, how do you face it with different wisdom? In Abhidharma, there are 2 wisdoms. Wisdom is divided into 2 types of wisdom. For the same object, you can have a wrong understanding. For example, if you are scared of talking about death, then it's some wrong wisdom. If you do this meditation with the wrong wisdom, then it's of course, sorry, not 2 wisdoms, it's bad wisdom or wrong wisdom. But if you do the meditation with the correct wisdom, which is to transcend, which is to understand death with love, then the seeds that you have planted are not bad seeds. And instead, you can plant seeds of more happiness and long life for the people around you. So the key is, how do you face this object with your heap of discrimination? Different discrimination can create different feelings. So facing this object of death, how do you use your heap of discrimination? If you use the wrong or evil wisdom of fear to face this death, then you have the seeds you plant will be fear and misunderstanding. And this misunderstanding will cause more death around you. So death is not frightening. The key is how to face it, because it is already around us. And the 4 elements are already dissolving, whether you see it or not. The crucial point is, how do we understand it? Like now, when we are discussing this, our earth element is dissolving and our body is becoming less and less solid. You see a lot of old people, they have less solidity and they, or you can say that they also have less wetness, or they have less warmness. Their body becomes colder and colder, and ultimately they pass away. So everything is always dissolving. The crucial point is how to understand this. And it is one important point in Abhidharma, which is to understand this world with the Abhidharma perspective, because Abhidharma itself means higher knowledge. It is a pure knowledge if translated to Chinese. Abhidharma means pure knowledge, or sorry, unstained wisdom, or higher Dharma, some wisdom that can bring you to a higher state. So, and this is one of the, and this is our goal to learn Abhidharma.
我们这堂课中文玄奘特别版中文语言
Our
课
Chinese language class,
到此一段落。
this special class of
Ben,
Xuanzang
do we have
Tower
the famous
ends here.
MC coming up? The news guy?
I'm sure that Juan Hasso is standing by. Thank you for a beautiful class,
Yeah.
Stanley. Katie, I am just blown away at your skill in translation. It's so rare that I get the opportunity to watch up close and personal the incredible speed and skill. Beautiful work. We're so blessed to have such intelligent, clear communicators on our broader team helping us to deliver into many languages at the same time. It's a miracle. It's so cool. Beautiful class, Stanley. I'm sorry it wasn't as boring as you were hoping. I think we all got a lot out of it. Dr. Juan Hasso, are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. Thank you so much, Stanley. It's very cool to see that the audience is responding very well to these Chinese language classes. Wonderful. Congratulations. So today I'm going to be sharing some of what's happening right now all over the world. And here we go. So last Saturday, we talked with our friends that are visiting Colombia, Santa Marta. That was Aldo Arzapalo and Paulina Garcia. They succeed with a 2-day in-depth philosophy retreat over there in Colombia. Today they finish. Soon they are going to be sharing how did it go. But for now, we just want to congratulate you and wish you the best for next visits there. Also to remind you that some other friends are having a retreat in Spain these days. It's happening from the 31st of October, just a few days ago, during Halloween. They were celebrating over there. And they're gonna keep going until November the 10th. It's happening right now. And if anybody who may be there want to send pictures, they are gonna be greatly appreciated. A quick reminder that all the preparations are in motion to get to Japan, Kyoto. This event is going to be the grand finale of the Steps on the Path series that Geshe Michael has been teaching all over 14 years. And the last chapter, let's say that way, is going to be happening this December in Kyoto, December the 1st to December the 7th. So if you are excited and you want to go, you can talk with Tim Lowenhop or Alejandra Hasso. They are going to help you with details on how to get there and how to sign up for this wonderful event. And then after December in Japan, Diamond Mountain is organizing a very beautiful event for New Year's. People who want to spend some retreat and quiet time there at Diamond Mountain. Our friend Gels is going to be running this event from December the 29th to January the 3rd. You can follow the QR for information at Diamond Mountain. And then very interestingly, on January, Utpala is going to be leading a retreat also based on her translation book, Emptiness Meditations. That also may be very, very interesting. You can also contact Diamond Mountain for this information. And in that regards, we want to announce that Diamond Cutter Press is already launching the Emptiness Meditation Sponsor Edition. It's just it's the last release they have with this Sponsors Edition. Looks amazing. You could start getting yours if you follow the QR code and then have it and be ready for when Utpala runs her retreat. You can be like a very good student and show up there with your book in hand, printed, golden pages, amazing. Okay, for today, we have a very cool talk with our friend Lydia. since she's one of the organizers and producers of the upcoming event on the Hatha Yoga Pradipika Chapter 4, coming up in November 14th to the 25th, very, very soon, just a few weeks from now. And today she's going to be sharing with us a little bit of what's going to be like being there and some of the things we may hear over there. So I would like to welcome her and also ask Table if you could help me to spotlight Lydia, if she is around. And if Lydia, if you are there, if you could raise your hand, they can find you.
Hello.
Easier.
Business where the hand is?
It's in the chat.
What's your username?
Wordsmith.
Oh, wonderful. Almost as handsome.
Almost.
Nice to see you guys. How are you doing?
Good.
You look like you went to a wedding or something.
Don't give her any ideas.
Not comments, just laughing. Okay. That's okay. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. So welcome, and tell us a little bit of what you've been cooking. What are you planning for this upcoming Hatha Yoga Pradipika 4? Are you gonna be there, Word, as well?
We'll see. If it depends how good my seeds are.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Well, I think everybody knows that we're having the event in Sedona. It's in November. So those kind of details you already know. We're going to have classes with Geshe Michael. We're going to have in-depth classes with Earl. We also have on-site asana and meditation classes, as well as Sanskrit classes. We have enough participants right now that we actually had to get a bigger venue. So there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement going into the course.
Cool. So you're thinking to find a different venue. So that means it may not be at the college. Is that correct? And
Yes.
already confirmed? Whoa. Yes. Where is it gonna be?
In Poco Diablo.
Oh wow, that's amazing. What's gonna be the dress code?
Like this hustle.
Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Probably the first yoga retreat hosted in suits. Okay, and what else? Do you want to talk a little bit about the topics and why it could be very cool or very convenient for people to come? What kind of things they're gonna learn if they come?
Well, Geshe's doing the end of the third and the rest of the fourth chapter of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, because he's been doing the 4 chapters throughout. He's been sprinkling it throughout the each course. And so this is the final one, right?
Yep.
So
it's the final one.
It's the grand finale. If that's not reason enough to come, he'll be explaining some deeper teachings on samadhi, which is like the deepest kind of meditation, as well as the mudras, which are unique to yogic practice. It's like the different ways of putting your body to force the winds, the prana, the energy, to go to the good places you want it to go.
That's very interesting. And I was looking at the video Geshe Michael recorded for YSI, and he was saying that, I don't know if he personally is going to talk about it or the chapter talks about it, but he did mention some content about the Tumo practice. And then what is this deal like? A lot of people are talking about, or even the advertisement on the event seems to be around partner practice. Is this something that we're gonna be hearing about?
Yes, the title of the chapter is Profound Partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to be something that is going to be talked about. It's something that I brought Word here to tell you all how great partner practice is.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, we hear you, Word. What is it
It's
about?
an advanced practice, okay?
Dishes in the morning, toilets in the afternoon.
What?
Doing the dishes in the morning,
Oh
doing the
yeah.
toilets in the afternoon. Or what
Dishes
is
all
it?
day, Hasso. Dishes all
Yeah,
day.
probably.
Yeah. But yeah, there'll be discussion on partner practice, which in other ways, in other traditions, they're considered secret practice, but there's little bits that the yogis talk about that are open. And so it'll be good seeds for people who want to go deeper in their practices.
Okay, I also hear, and I don't know if that's what you mentioned, Lydia, Geshe Michael has been, promoting or sharing that he's going to be using some new translations of some, I don't understand, some parts of the text. Could you tell us a little bit about what is this about?
When he originally taught the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, there was some verses that didn't get translated at that time. He's been recently working on the translations. So there are verses from the book that have just been translated. So this is a really good reason not to miss out.
Okay, okay. All right. So if people want to go, can they still come live?
Yes. Yes, they can come live to Sedona or they can participate online.
Okay, what do you recommend them better?
Live.
Live for sure.
Live is better. Are there gonna be more activities other than Geshe Michael's classes? What else is planned for those who attend live?
For those that attend live and for those that are attending online, we have the Geshe classes, we have asana classes and meditation classes that are going to integrate the knowledge from the philosophy classes that Geshe gives. We're also going to have in-depth classes with Earl Burney, who's going to help some of us out that maybe the first time around we don't get all the concepts. He's going to go deeper and kind of explain a little bit more where we are in the text. And we will also have Michael Johnson, who's going to be teaching some Sanskrit, so we can really dive deep into what the words of the text mean so that we can have that accurate understanding.
That's awesome. And Michael Johnson is going to be teaching the guitar lessons also, no?
We'll see if he brings his guitar. He definitely will probably sing during his Sanskrit class. He's getting to be famous for that.
I know. But now you mentioned something that made me think, is Michael Johnson going to be there live this time or he's going to be teaching online?
He is the only person that's going to be teaching online. Everybody else is live. Meditation teachers are live. Asana teachers are live. Geshe is live and Earl Burney will be on site.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I think a lot of people are very excited today. Some friends from Mexico were texting me and saying that they are going. A lot of people are flying there. If you need, information about how to get there, you can contact me or you can contact YSI because I move around Arizona a lot now. I'm becoming almost an expert. I'm start thinking to open my shuttle company. Who knows, but we'll see. But yeah, I would like to share just one last time the poster with the QR code. If you haven't signed up yet, that's the way to go. And thank you so much for sharing and encouraging us to go. I'm planning to be there soon and hope to see you both there. But if we can show the poster one more time, I will request Tech Table, if you can help me, please. Well, I can do it. All right, so there you go. Check it out. You can still make it. We'll be reporting about what else happens. Thank you very much. And finally, I was also wanted to share that Peachtree World News is planning the New Year's Eve traditional event. We're still cooking the details, but if you have something you want to share, you can start contacting us to info@peachtreeworldnews.com. And very soon we will be sharing the details. I'm still waiting for Rob Haggerty to help me with the schedule. Now he's the schedule master and we are checking on it. That's all from my side today. Thank you very much, and see you next time. We go now with Venerable Utpala's class. Do you want to add anything, Lydia or Ward? You're good. If you're good, just thumbs up.
One last thing. I think this chapter of the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, as well as the book in general, is an amazing book to augment people who are interested in this deeper wisdom. It is it's another language, that Sanskrit, that it's great to go deep into, and the knowledge of it goes right in hand with the things that the mixed nuts delve into, and it's a little extra. So if you're interested in the mixed nuts, you will love Hatha Yoga Pratipika.
All right.
Ask Kramer.
We'll see. Not just kidding, but hopefully
Okay.
so.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Hasso.
I bet Ben knows about it. Thank you as well.
Bye.